Welcome to Tell Me More, the Allsteel podcast where design meets innovation and we explore the limitless potential of workspaces. In this exclusive series, we're peeling back the layers of workplace design. From the psychology of colors to the future of hybrid work, join us as we open doors to conversations with industry leaders, architects, and designers who redefine the modern workplace. This is Tell Me More, brought to you by Allsteel, because when it comes to designing the future, there's always more to discover. Hello and welcome to the Tell Me More podcast. I am your host, Chelsea Compton, and joining me today is Stephen Burgos for our Doing More series. And in this series, we share the voices and perspectives of design leaders in the architect and design community. So, Stephen, thanks for joining us. Let's jump right in. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to those tuning in? Where are you from and what do you do?
Well, thanks for having me, Chelsea. I'm very excited to be on today. My name is Stephen Burgos. I am a design director for interiors here at HOK's Miami studio. Originally a native of New Jersey, I moved down to Miami about 10 years ago. Was really at that time kind of looking to reinvent myself and what that kind of 2.0 version of me would be, kind of leaving the nest, so to speak. And it was a really great decision for me. In my daily kind of tasks as a design director, I'm really being that creative voice, that leader, that champion for our design teams, guiding them from everything through concept design all the way, to turning over the keys to the client and, jumping in and out of projects every single day at different points.
So lots going on there in your
Yes.
role. So how long have you been in the industry? And I'm also curious, what inspired you to join?
Been in the industry probably about 16 years now. Big evolution for me in terms of career growth and kind of pivoting around a little bit. I think from a very early age, I was really inspired about the built environment. I was very curious about space, how people interacted with it. I recall that I would have my father take me to kind of large public places like shopping malls and parks and like densely populated urban centers and just kind of be amazed and awed at, all these structures around me, how they were put together, how people interacted with them, and the power that a really good space could affect people's perception and experience of kind of what they came there to do. So I would say that probably laid a good framework for me to then start to explore this and, either be it hand sketching, playing with building blocks and kind of other toys at that time, I guess, at my age. And then finally, when got to high school and I had the ability to start to join drafting classes or wood shop or things like that, really started to get into the nuts and bolts of what it meant to potentially, join this field.
Okay. So it seems like your journey has really always been rooted in this like passion for creating. So when we think about your career path, can you describe what that looked like from where you started until now? Give us
Mhm.
the whole story.
Sure, yeah. So going forward from kind of high school and building that foundation of kind of, learning CAD, learning how to draft, learning about scale and space and what that all means. I had the opportunity to get an internship at a construction management firm. So, kind of the different side of the table, so to speak, from where I am now.
Sure.
But I think a few things I learned from that. I think first and foremost, as a young professional, learning what this business means, learning how to conduct yourself in a room full of, architects and engineers and, people making big decisions, and observing kind of those behaviors and, what is really important to get the job done. And then got a lot of great mentorship along the way and really learning how to deliver projects from that aspect. I spent about 4 or 5 years there while I was doing my undergrad and then graduated basically into a recession at that time. So I didn't stick around very long there, unfortunately, but took a lot of knowledge and insights and, thought that this is kind of where I wanted my trajectory to be on kind of that side of the fence, the construction side. So I was able to do some kind of temp work in that kind of same field. being a project manager. I didn't mention that I think what was really cool about that internship aspect was I was really creating projects and experiences for people in my local community. So
Mhm.
working on K to 12 schools, again, really influencing the young people and creating, the future learning environments for them. So I didn't take that lightly at all. And in this kind of new capacity, being on I'll call it the owner side, working for the state of New Jersey and kind of, managing some of those projects. Um, Again, a different kind of angle and aspect of what we do every day. I did that for a little bit of time, and then, through the power of network and, staying in contact with people, there was an opportunity to come interview for a position at Gensler. At that time, I didn't know, everything about the firm. I had heard about them, but kind of been looking into it, realized, this is a really great opportunity, and interviewed with them and got a position in the Morristown office and started kind of as a document control coordinator, working closely with an executive architect on a project site. Then came to the office and started to work on hospitality architecture. So something completely different. Um,
Yeah,
Really great learning experience. Learning about the programs and the tools, and putting my degree to use, so to speak, right? Um, Once that project ended, started working in the field of workplace and more specifically workplace interiors, and really fell in love with not only like the speed of projects, being able to kind of churn things out a little quicker, but really seeing, I guess, more tangible aspects of what we're doing and how it influences and creates that experience for the people using that space. So I was really, really drawn to that and had a really great mentor that taught me, about space planning and metrics and, what's really important. And I spent about 5.5 years there. And then, as I think we all do, kind of when we start to, get further into our lives and careers, you start to get that itch and kind of what's really next for me. And I decided to move to Miami. I think twofold to, as I kind of explained earlier, leave the nest, really truly be independent and try to really understand and do a little soul searching as to what it meant to be truly independent and, push myself out of my comfort zone. So I didn't tell anybody I was doing this.
okay.
I signed the papers and told them once everything had cleared and made the trek down here in late 2014, and
How was
it
the
was
reaction to that?
it was mixed. There was some people were upset, some people
Yeah,
understood, but I think in the end, I think everybody really understood, what my intention was behind it. And it wasn't that I was just kind of running away, but it was more so that as an individual that I needed this for me to grow,
sure.
and really, again, kind of push myself out there. So I transferred to the Miami studio. It was a growing studio at the time, and that was something that appealed to me, the ability to kind of shape and influence the direction of the office. And for about 7 years, grew into an associate, a senior associate, eventually a design director, working on really cool projects all throughout, gaining that knowledge and that expertise, and never shying away from a challenge. And I would say in early 2022, another opportunity came knocking for me where I had the ability to join HOK and reopen the Miami studio. And, really humbled by the opportunity to really step into that leadership role, to open up a studio, grow a team, go out there and try to get project work and develop client relationships. And it's been a tremendous experience for me. We are a studio of 17 people now, working on really
Wow.
amazing projects across South Florida, collaborated with other offices, and the future is bright.
Oh, growing, being able to grow with a studio from 1 to 17 people sounds like a challenge, but an incredible opportunity at the same time. And I think
Absolutely.
it's nice that throughout your path, you've gotten to experience different roles and working environments. And I think that, your journey really highlights the importance of adaptability and being adaptable. And so from all of these experiences, is there something that stands out to you? Like, what are you most proud of?
That's a great question. I think I'm really proud of a few things. I think going back to kind of why I became passionate about this field and what I do is the ability to impact people's lives with what we're doing every day. And what I specifically do every day is try to design environments that make people productive, that make people feel good, that make people happy, that make people want to come there. And I
Mhm.
don't take that responsibility lightly. And I do feel in my role, it's important that I kind of transfer that responsibility and knowledge to others. So that idea of like mentorship and coaching and growing the next generation is something I'm really passionate about, and I've been fortunate to see younger staff that I've worked with throughout the years grow and evolve into positions of leadership in their own. And I can't tell you how rewarding that is.
I
um,
believe.
yeah.
Okay, so kind of switching gears here a little bit. When you think about, A&D within your community, what type of opportunities inspire you? Is there anything that you've contributed to or maybe hope to contribute to more of in the future?
Yeah, certainly. One thing comes to mind. I was fortunate to start getting involved with IADA when I had relocated to South Florida. I found it to be a community that offered many opportunities. Specifically for me, being new to the design community down here, I found it a place where I was able to kind of quickly connect with not only my fellow peers in other firms, but also, the vendors and the reps and the context that you work with every day, and also get insight into kind of what the pulse of the market is down here. What are the types of projects people are working on, and, who's kind of who in all the different firms and places around town. So for me, it just kind of quickly helped establish that base network for me. When I started to dig deeper and start to attend some of the events, I did really find that sense of belonging and community, in the sense that I felt there was a big opportunity. I saw what the chapter was trying to do, and I could start to see how maybe we could spread our reach and really start to connect with more people. So I decided to get involved with the board. Um, Being the chair of some of their signature events like Design Mix, which is their fashion show, and now called the Bragg Awards, which is basically the design gala. Um, when I became chapter president, there was a few initiatives that I helped to spearhead along with the board that really took the chapter to the next level. I felt that there was a missed opportunity to kind of connect amongst the different disciplines that are involved in projects. So, for example, when we're building out a space, you have the architect, you have the contractor, you have maybe a mill worker, you have a furniture vendor. But we weren't all kind of sitting around the table and talking. So we developed this platform called Synergy Summits where we could have those conversations in front of, the A&D community. So maybe there's a topic about furniture, and there could be a design firm, there could be a furniture manufacturer, there could be a dealer, and maybe a contractor, right? And then we're all talking about those shared experiences of what it takes to deliver the project from that specific topic's aspect. So that was one element. We also expanded the board to look at um, or to include, should I say, kind of different angles. So we created professional development arm that would really focus on kind of the CEUs and the learning opportunities like the Synergy Summit that I just described, and now has eventually grown even more to New Year, New You, which really focuses on personal development as well as professional development, which is really exciting to see. We developed a philanthropic arm, so we know that as a chapter, we're also giving beyond the walls of our community, but to the greater community at large. And they've done things like food drives and toy drives and raise money for, different charities around town. And then I think above all that and kind of more overarching was this idea or notion to kind of really break down the silos. If I work for firm A and you work for firm B, you know, why are we not talking to each other? We're going through kind of shared experiences and things and kind of really helping to make the chapter a safe space where we could all kind of come together and share our voices, and integrate us truly, was something that I'm very proud of and that the chapter continues to evolve and grow to this day.
Yeah, you should be proud of that. I think all those programs really showcase the power of connecting people over a shared purpose. And it's
Exactly.
inspiring to hear how you're helping to give back to students. And speaking of students, when we're thinking about, those coming up in the industry, what advice might you share? Like, are there any lessons you wish you would have learned sooner or maybe early on in your career?
That's a great question. You know, as part of the IIDA platform that we continue to evolve, part of that was indeed giving back to students. So creating specific networking events for them so that they could join and meet design professionals, resume
Mhm.
reviews, things like that. And we also developed, scholarships at each of the signature events to award to students. So other great things. But in terms of things that like I would share or that I wish I had learned, I think first and foremost, the power of your network is invaluable. So, as a young student, I would tell those at the, in that role that, go to that event, even if you're the only one, like you would be
Yeah.
so surprised at, who might be in that room, who you might shake hands with, who you might give, the QR code to your resume, because I've had students do this to me. And you just never know who that connection is going to be and where it can take you. I've seen an uptick, I think, in more of that, and I tell them all the time, I'm like, kudos to you for coming to this event. I know it can be intimidating, I know it could be scary, but you're in control of your career and your destiny, and if you don't put yourself out there, you just never know the opportunities that you're missing.
Right.
I would also say that, as a young professional and even, later into your career as a mid-level or even senior,
Mhm.
and beyond, don't be afraid to speak up. If there's something new that you want to try at work, you want to take on this initiative, like speak up, let your manager, let your supervisor know. 9 times out of 10, there's going to be the opportunity to put you into that role in some aspect. And yeah, because you are in the driver's seat of your career. And also, don't be afraid to stop learning. If there's, something that seems intimidating or scary, like just give it a shot. If we fail fast, we learn from that and we move forward. But it also teaches you a lot about yourself and, the limits of what you can do. And people see that drive in you, and they will put you in positions where you're able to more rapidly grow and take on more. So that would be my advice.
That's excellent. So you're saying it's important to, stay connected with people because relationships can open unexpected doors. And, like you said, don't be afraid to speak up and take control of your career because even if it doesn't feel maybe the most relevant right now, it could make a big difference down the road.
100%. 100%. Yeah, if you think about it, we are a big community, but also a very small community. And people are moving around all the time. They're growing, they're moving vertically, they're moving horizontally. So, today we're working together on something, but tomorrow that person could be your client or they could be your peer or who knows. So it's really important to develop that network, cultivate and grow those relationships and maintain them, quite frankly.
Or is there anything else that you'd like to share? Or is there a way that our listeners can follow or connect with you that maybe you'd like to mention?
I think one of the things in reflecting upon like this experience talking with you today is that I think we do need to kind of share more of our stories and experiences. As I mentioned earlier, that idea about kind of breaking down silos and sharing our
Yeah.
stories. We're kind of all going through similar things together concurrently or maybe at different times. And just hearing somebody's story might, spark an idea or maybe be an opportunity for you to solve something or maybe open the possibilities to solving it for somebody else. So I would suggest, having more of these conversations amongst your friend groups and your offices, because those wisdom and insights, you never know the impact that it could have on somebody.
Yep.
And if you want to reach out, on LinkedIn, Stephen Burgos. Always love chatting with new people and making connections. So yeah, look forward to hearing from everybody.
I love it. You never know who you're inspiring. So thank you so much, Stephen, and stay tuned for more episodes of the Doing More series. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
And that brings us to the end of another fascinating episode of Tell Me More. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of design and innovation. If you're hungry for more insights and stories, make sure to subscribe to Tell Me More on your preferred podcast platform. As we sign off, remember that the conversation doesn't end here. Connect with us on social media at Allsteel and share your thoughts, questions, or even your favorite moments from the podcast. We love hearing from our engaged and curious audience. Stay tuned for our next episode where we'll continue exploring the Design to Do More philosophy. Until then, thanks for listening.